My name is Olivia Carter. People say the worst pain comes from losing someone you love. They're wrong. The worst pain comes when the people who promise to stand beside you quietly decide you're no longer worth standing with. Last Thanksgiving, my entire family gathered at my parents' house. Everyone was there. My parents, my older brother, my younger sister, my nieces and nephews. There was laughter, music, and a family photo that later filled everyone's social media. I wasn't in a single picture. Not because I was late. Not because I was busy. I had been told the dinner was canceled. 3 days later, I discovered it hadn't been canceled at all. And the real reason they lied to me changed the way I looked at my family forever. I spent Thanksgiving alone in my apartment. I cooked a small turkey for myself and my 8-year-old daughter, Lily. To make the day feel special, I smiled through the pain and told her Grandma and Grandpa must have postponed dinner because everyone got sick. She believed me. That night, my phone stayed silent. No calls. No messages. Not even a simple, "Happy Thanksgiving." 3 days later, while waiting for my coffee before work, I opened Facebook. The first photo stopped me cold. My parents stood in front of the fireplace, smiling. My brother and his wife were beside them. My sister was holding her newborn son. The dining table was covered with food. The caption read, "Another perfect Thanksgiving with everyone we love." Everyone. Except me. My hands started shaking as I scrolled through more photos. Then I noticed something that hurt even more. On the wall behind them was a large framed family portrait. A portrait that had been taken just 2 months earlier. And somehow, I wasn't in it either. That's when I realized Thanksgiving wasn't the only family event I'd been quietly erased from. I couldn't stop staring at that family portrait. I remembered the day it had been taken. My mother had told me the photographer canceled because of bad weather. I believed her without asking another question. Now I knew that had been a lie too. Trying to calm myself, I called my sister Emily. She let it ring before finally answering. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked nervously. I took a deep breath. Why did everyone tell me Thanksgiving was canceled? There was complete silence. Then she whispered, "Olivia, I wasn't supposed to tell you." My heart sank. "Tell me what?" Before she could answer, I heard my mother's voice in the background. "Who is that?" Emily covered the phone, but I still heard my mother's reply. "It's Olivia." A few seconds later, my mother grabbed the phone. "Sweetheart, don't make this into something it isn't." I asked quietly, "Then tell me the truth." Another long silence. Finally, she said the words that shattered me. "We thought it would be less stressful if you didn't come." Less stressful. For my own family. I had become the person they wanted to avoid. And I still had no idea why. I couldn't speak. My own mother had just admitted they left me out on purpose. I hung up without saying another word. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I drove to my parents' house. When my father opened the door, the smile on his face disappeared. "Olivia, you should have called first." "I don't want excuses," I said. "I want the truth." A few seconds later, everyone was sitting in the living room. No one looked me in the eye. Finally, my older brother, Jason, sighed. "This wasn't Mom's idea." I looked at him. "What do you mean?" He took a deep breath. "We all agreed." My chest tightened. "All of you." He slowly nodded. Emily lowered her head in shame. Then Jason said something that hurt even more. "We thought every family gathering had become about your problems, your husband's death, your financial struggles." Everyone left feeling sad. We just wanted one holiday where things felt normal. The room went silent. At that moment, I realized they hadn't excluded me because I had done something wrong. They excluded me because my pain had become an inconvenience. And what I said next left the entire room speechless. I looked around the room. My parents couldn't meet my eyes. Emily was already crying. Jason folded his arms, as if he still believed he had done the right thing. I smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. So while I was teaching Lily that family never gives up on each other, I paused. All of you were voting to give up on me. No one said a word. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small envelope. I wasn't asking any of you for money that day. They looked confused. I came to invite everyone to Ethan's memorial. It was the first anniversary of my husband's death. I wanted Lily to feel like she still had a family. My mother's face turned pale. She opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was the invitation they had never received, because after discovering the truth, I never mailed a single one. I stood up quietly. You didn't ruin Thanksgiving. You made sure your granddaughter will always remember who wasn't there when she needed family the most. Then I walked toward the front door. Behind me, I heard my father call my name. But for the first time in my life, I didn't turn around. A week later, Ethan's memorial arrived. I didn't expect anyone from my family to come. Honestly, I didn't even save them a seat. Lily stood beside me, holding a single white rose. She whispered, "Mom, do you think Grandma forgot?" I forced a smile. No, sweetheart. Sometimes adults make choices they regret. Just as the ceremony was about to begin, the chapel door slowly opened. My parents walked in. Then Emily. Behind them was Jason, holding the same family portrait that had broken my heart. He walked up to me, his voice shaking. I looked at this picture every day this week. He swallowed hard. And I realized something. It wasn't complete. He removed the photo from its frame. Then, in front of everyone, he tore it in half. I'd rather have no family portrait at all than one that pretends my sister doesn't exist. For the first time since Ethan died, I saw genuine regret in my family's eyes. But I still didn't know if regret would be enough to rebuild everything they had broken. The ceremony ended quietly. As people began leaving, my father stopped me in the parking lot. He held out a small box. Inside were dozens of old family photos. Every birthday, every Christmas, every vacation, and in every single picture, I was standing right in the middle. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Somewhere along the way, we forgot that you were still that little girl." My mother couldn't stop crying. "There isn't a day we can erase," she whispered. "But if you'll let us, we'll spend the rest of our lives trying to make it right." I looked at Lily. She was holding her grandfather's hand as if nothing had happened. Children forgive much faster than adults. I wasn't ready to forgive. Not yet. But I also didn't want my daughter to grow up carrying the same bitterness I felt. So I took a deep breath and said, "You don't get your place back in our lives because we're family. You earn it, one choice at a time." For the first time in months, they understood that trust isn't given by blood. It's rebuilt by actions. The months that followed were different. My family stopped making promises. Instead, they started showing up. My father came to Lily's school play without being asked. My mother called every Sunday, not to give advice, but simply to listen. Emily admitted she should have spoken up that day, even if everyone else disagreed. Jason apologized more than once. But I told him words weren't enough. He understood. A year later, we gathered for Thanksgiving again. This time, no one took a single photo until Lily shouted, "Wait, Mom isn't in it yet." Everyone laughed. I walked into the frame, and my father wrapped his arm around my shoulder. When the photographer said, "Smile," I finally could. Not because everything had been forgotten, but because everyone had chosen to do the hard work of making things right. That painful Thanksgiving changed our family forever. It taught us something none of us will ever forget. The deepest betrayal isn't being left out of a family photo. It's realizing the people in it were willing to take it without you. And the greatest apology isn't spoken with tears. It's proven by showing up every single day.